convening this hearing and being here. In addition to waging genocidal war in Ukraine, Putin is simultaneously using asymmetric warfare and gray zone tactics against NATO, which is methods all too familiar with what the Soviet Union did during the Cold War. The same playbook that they used then, disinformation, espionage, targeted assassinations, is alive and well in Putin's Russia. Never forget, once KGB, always KGB. Putin was a KGB officer of the Soviet Union. In his mind, he's still the same person. He hadn't changed. We see attacks on dissidents, activists, and high-profile figures living abroad, which is intended to send a message that no one is outside of the range of the Kremlin. Alexei Navalny's former chief of staff, Leonid Volkov, was attacked with a hammer in Lithuania shortly after Navalny's death, and the poisoning of political opponents like Vladimir Kara-Murza on 2 different occasions. And we've seen other poisonings in London and other places. Now more than ever, Putin wants to weaken and destabilize the West, so as we see him increasingly using his hybrid attacks. He's been orchestrating cyber attacks, targeting critical infrastructure. In January, he did such an attack in a water facility in Texas that affected water there and also affected water flow supply systems in France and in Poland as well. He's also working hard on disinformation campaigns aimed at influencing political narratives. 2016 presidential election, Putin conducted foreign electoral interference to help his favorite candidate, Donald Trump. He's trying to do the same in our upcoming election. And they'll probably use AI, and they'll use EM. For those of you who don't know what EM is, it's Elon Musk. U.S. intelligence reported that Moscow is targeting U.S. swing states with more advanced disinformation such as AI tools and authentic U.S. voices. EM, to shape the outcome in favor of Donald Trump. Ukraine is asking to use our weapons for offensive purposes, and I support the request. I think they need to go forward with offensive weapons to strike into Russia and bring the war home to the Russian people. This is ludicrousy to allow Russia to attack and kill Ukrainians, destroy cultural objects, destroy cities with reckless disregard for life. Hit schools, hit hospitals, hit senior facilities, and Ukraine is not supposed to go in to Russia. That's crazy. I mean, both your arms are tied behind your back and tied behind them, unfortunately, by my government, our government, which is supporting Ukraine, and we've done a lot, but we've been slow at doing it. I went to these classified briefings early on. They were quite interesting. But some of them, the people got up who know a lot more about these weapons than I do, and they said, we need to give them ATACMS. We need to give them ATACMS. Gave them to them like 6 months later. We need to give them HIMARS. We need to give them HIMARS. 6 months later. And then there were the F-16s and the Abrams tanks. And it was all a delay and a delay and a delay. This war would have been much, much closer to ending on Ukraine's terms, but ending if we'd have given them those weapons earlier. Because Putin responds to one thing, and that's when he's weak. He doesn't want to show it. But when he's weak, he'll consider some treaty, some response, some end to the war. And that's something we were told very clearly by Professor Sullivan at one of our last hearings. That's all, he's got to have weakness, and the weakness is getting those weapons. So I support allowing to use our weapons as well as British and French to go in and take the war home to Russia and let them have an even and appropriate and perspective on what the war is. Is it really a special military operation, or is it a war? And they won't know what war is for. War is innocents getting killed and places being bombed and losing their lives. And until Ukraine brings it to Russia, they won't see it as a war. They'll see it as a special military operation. And the second great patriotic war. Horseshit. That concludes my remarks. Thank you.